Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host, and
Mervyn Price.
all right. We're talking with Tim Bost, editor and publisher of Financial Cycles Weekly, financialcyclesweekly.com. Tim, when we left off, I want to put as much into the segment as we can, but when we left off, you're talking about the solar eclipse and how it is going to affect or could possibly affect Kim Jong-un. You mentioned a couple other key figures, and Merv wants to get in the conversation too with the Bitcoin and what you've got on your website there. But let's just tick the top figures about who might be impacted and how they might be impacted quickly with this eclipse coming up.
Well, Xi Jinping, China is being impacted as well. And the interesting thing about the eclipse impact for him is that he's likely to take a much broader level of thinking and be a little more high-minded and egalitarian in his approach. So we may be able to look to him as a successful negotiator in resolving potential conflict on the Korean Peninsula. There are other individuals that are impacted as well. One of the things that we see an acceleration of with Vladimir Putin, for example, is his tendency to work in his own self-interest, and he's going to be very strongly emotionally propelled during the months following the eclipse. One of the things I should point out here, Michael, is that following eclipses, we have this resonant field continuing to create an effect. The impact of a solar eclipse is not limited to the date of the eclipse itself. And in fact, with our book, The Big One, The Great American Eclipse and Its Impact on the Markets, what we do is detail all of the specific dates between the date of the eclipse on into next spring, till the end of April 2018. We expect this eclipse to continue to have a residual impact.
And the return date on this, that's another impact zone. And then Merv definitely needs to get in the conversation.
We'll have a number of lunar returns to the eclipse. We evaluate all of those, but we have the eclipse occurring on August 21st, and there are a number of resonant points, and we detail all of those dates. We list them specifically in the book.
Perfect. All right, Merv, please jump in.
Hi there, Tim. Earlier we had Steve Canaval on the program. He's an expert in basically blockchain and cryptocurrencies. I noticed going through your wonderful book, The Big One, that you have an area there where you define the outlook for Bitcoin and the future of cryptocurrencies. Talk about that derivative, please.
Well, we've been tracking this for a bit, based on the date of the inception of Bitcoin. And of course, this whole area is accelerating a great deal now. We're getting a lot of these new offerings of cryptocurrencies, and we think this is going to be a very, very hot area to explore here. Now, for a lot of years, we've had major swings in Bitcoin. And there's been very interesting propaganda, pro and con, for this as well. So that's certainly had an impact on this particular market. But we think there are going to be greater heights ahead with Bitcoin based on the eclipse effects on the chart for Bitcoin, and we expect this to have a much stronger role globally as well. And because of the fact that we now have a number of other cryptocurrencies being developed and coming into the arena, we think that global impact will continue to expand. This can be a very, very profitable area for speculators to get in at the right time with the right currency, but also I think we're looking at a sea change in the structure of currencies and economic transactions that's likely to have a very, very big impact long term. This is at least of the scale of the coming of the internet back in the early 90s. At the time we had no idea just how big that would be. I think we've got something at least of that kind of scale unfolding in the years ahead with the cryptocurrencies.
That's actually some good news. So let's take the good news to the next level. Define some specific strategies that people can use for profiting from the solar eclipse.
Well, one of the things that we look at specifically at Financial Cycles Weekly, Vernon, is U.S. equities. We put a lot of our attention there. One of the things that we have discovered is that when a solar eclipse impacts key points in the first trade horoscope of an equity, then we can expect a big impact on that particular stock. So our overall strategy is to identify those stocks that are most strongly impacted by the coming solar eclipse. We look at them around the date of the eclipse. Oftentimes we'll see a price pullback congruent with the eclipse. And then this provides a buying opportunity for a long position in terms of swing trading, a short-term trade. We're in our trades for anywhere from 7, 8 trading days up to a couple of months, depending on how well the trade goes. We enter a swing trade position and then trail a stop with that. So
just quickly
that's
then,
a strategy we found that works very well for us.
Just quickly then, and I'll wind up my questions. What about commodities? Grains, precious metals, gold, silver. What effect will it have on those?
Well, each one, again, we look at the individual commodity, at the individual contracts, and see how the eclipse impacts that. There are a lot of people interested in gold, for example, and with the coming solar eclipse, what we're expecting here is a good bit of volatility in the gold market right around the time of the eclipse and shortly thereafter. A little bit longer term, however, the outlook remains fairly bearish for gold. So I would advise a good bit of caution. It's a great opportunity for short-term traders, for speculators who are willing to get in and out. Dyed-in-the-wool gold bugs may not be that happy with it in the long run, though.
All right. So do you have any equities in mind? Because obviously the bigger the bigger the impact, the better results of the trade. But do you have any equities or indices in mind you think might be more affected than others?
Well, in fact, what we've done with the book is outline specific trading opportunities that we're looking at with this particular solar eclipse. We're looking on the New York Stock Exchange at IPG, the Interpublic Group of Companies. Lincoln National Corporation is another one. Lazy Boy looks very interesting. There are several other trades that we're considering here based on the impact specifically of the solar eclipse on their individual charts. So again, this is not a recommendation to buy or sell, as they say, but this is what we're tracking, and what we'll be doing in those cases is looking at those particular equities, seeing the impact of the eclipse. If we see a pullback in the price or shortly after the date of the eclipse, then we'll take that as a buying position or a buying opportunity, assuming that the technical analysis confirms that trade for us.
All right. So naturally it leads me right to how do they get the book? So go ahead and tell everybody how they can get the book.
Well, the book is available on Amazon.com, and of course we've got 3 days left for the eclipse, so if you get there 2-day shipping, it'll get to you in time. But that's the easiest way to access that. And we do have an ebook version of this available as well. There's a specific website there. It is bit.ly/TBO for the big one. Those 3 letters are capitalized, and then BOOK for TBO book. So that is bit.ly/TBO book.
Okay, we've got about a minute left, Tim, before we go. There's more to you than just the book. This could start some people on a longer term path to greater prosperity and self-awareness by using astrology in their relationships and their trading and in their daily planning. You do that for people too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've come to the financial markets second. I've been working with astrological work for almost 50 years now, and I've been working with it in the markets for almost 40 years, or well over 40 years right now. So that's, and we've been publishing Financial Cycles Weekly. We'll be celebrating our 30th anniversary of that publication next year as well. So we serve a lot of needs based on our analysis of planetary cycles, their impacts on the lives of individuals, and specifically on the financial fortunes of individuals as well.
Okay, Tim, one last call for me. Trades to avoid. due to this eclipse?
And we got
real quick. We've got less than a minute.
Less than a minute.
Trades to avoid. Well, generally, anything that does not capitalize on volatility is going to be less favored right now because we're expecting more general volatility. So, if you're interested in longer-term time horizons, we would say be very, very cautious in that regard because we're going to see a good bit of upset in geopolitics and in the markets in the months ahead.
Got to go, Tim. Thanks for being on the show. We'll have you back later.
Thank you. Appreciate the time together.
My pleasure. Tim Bost, editor-publisher of Financial Cycles Weekly. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba
and Mervyn Price.
All right, we'll be back later. More great content for you.
Thank you for listening to CEO Money. If you would like to be a guest on our show or know someone who should be on our show, please contact us at info@wfn1.com or our website, wfn1.com. If you would like to reach any of our guests, please visit us at wfn1.com. Join us on Twitter at WFN Live or our Facebook page at WFN Live. We'll be back Monday with more great interviews and ahead-of-the-curve information you just can't get anywhere else.
CEO Money is sponsored by WF News 1 Incorporated. Views and opinions heard on CEO Money are not necessarily the opinion of this station or its management. Material on this program is intended for general information only and should not be taken as specific investment, tax, or legal advice.